welcome everybody today. Do we have,
Nah, she vetoed it. She vetoed it.
she decided she wasn't gonna talk, okay. And
And
so,
I've already addressed it too. We have the ability to water down there.
okay, good. Well, I told her that, she was welcome to come and talk if she wanted
Yeah.
tonight.
I appreciated it, but nope, we got it figured out.
Good. And sir, you don't have anything,
He's on the agenda.
Yeah.
you're on the agenda, okay, I'm sorry. Want to make sure I got everybody lined up here. Okay, let's start with the consent agenda. The minutes from the previous meeting, the appropriations and Lake Cabin transfers for A10 and D2. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
I second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as it's written. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion carries. There being no old business, let's go into new business. Request to replace manufactured home. Adam Richardson.
So I'll present it for James. James was down there in this inspection. It's an existing mobile home that he's replacing. He's got signatures. I think that's on page 41. He has a signature from people around that area that they're okay with him doing that.
Okay,
So there's pictures of what's currently there and then what he's replacing it with.
okay, and it's a newer model, right?
It's a 2020 model. It's new.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right, okay. Well, that's what our ordinance reads, that it needs to be newer and
yep.
it's within the other one's still standing there, the way I understand it.
Yeah, it'd have to, so in order to put in a single wide in town, there has to be an existing one there in order to replace it.
Yeah, and they only have a certain amount of time after they removed it, so.
Yeah, I think it's 60.
90 days.
90 days.
Yeah, so. Okay, so it fits within all the ordinances, so do I have any discussion on that?
Looks very nice.
Yep.
It does. Okay, do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Okay.
Second it.
Been moved and seconded to allow the replacement of manufactured home from Adam Richardson at 313 Cos Street. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion carries 4-0. Okay.
Here you go, Adam.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Lake Committee recommendation, boundary line adjustment C-W1.
All you, Keith. Put you on the spot. I don't-
CW1, hang on a second. There've been about 10 of these.
And the carport.
Yeah, that carport, they originally, one of their requests they had come up with, they wanted to go a considerable distance out towards the road. After we visited and looked, they had another spot that it would fit. There was an issue with a gas line that runs through there, but this is just gonna be a carport. It's not a permanent structure, so they can, obviously, if Atmos needed to access the line, they could unbolt the thing and move it. And so James was in favor of putting it as part of the permit, that if Atmos ever needed access, it'd be at their expense to move it, so.
It's not on concrete then.
It's gonna be, the way I understood, they were gonna set it on, anchor it with little piers.
They need 84 feet for a carport.
Well, it's the way the lot is, Mark, there's other stuff between the house and where they're going, and there's a driveway that runs down on that side. And their lot is configured, you can see it angles. There's a septic, it's the same story, you have other issues of other things between there and there. So to get it to fit in there, to go over there where the trees are on the left side, they got a driveway on the right side where they park. And that's the only spot they can miss the septic and everything. Otherwise, they gotta go even further out, and that's why we said no, just better stick with that spot, so.
Okay, I just want to clarify, 84 feet, that's a.
Yeah, it is, and and the other was really a lot. So,
That still allows for the 5 foot setback from the
yeah,
handicap.
right.
Yeah, so there's 5 foot that's out of that 84, and then whatever's between the structure and the existing buildings, so it narrows it down quite a bit.
And they realize that that's part of their lease now, that
What's
they'll be
that?
paying additional. They realize that.
Yes, yeah, they've got the application, all that's in place, and neighbors have signed off and
Approved of it,
everything.
okay. Okay, any more questions? Okay, do I hear a motion?
I move we approve the request for the additional, or change in the boundary line.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Moved and seconded to approve the boundary line adjustment for CW1. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, Wildcat Concrete Solutions Riverwalk Bridge repair.
So about a week and a half ago, I met Chris Blackout down there, Jeff Barlow and I did, and we looked at the Riverwalk Bridge. And as you can go through the pictures there, Megan, this is actually up on the bridge on Main Street, fixing these lips and things like that that are tripping hazards.
Just starting there.
Yep, as you can see, so you jack all that up to flush, so we don't have tripping hazard, and you're still within ADA compliance and things like that. And that is, I can put what that is. Same pictures.
Yeah, that other one's this far.
There's some broken concrete there, I think.
Yeah, I think that would all get fixed. And that's the opposite end by the wagon. That needs to be jacked up.
Is there any kind of guarantee or warranty on?
Not when you do this kind of stuff with old concrete, there's not guarantees that it's gonna work.
That it's not gonna wash out later
Well,
or?
it shouldn't wash out. That up there on the bridge, just from over the years being used and settling and rain and things like that.
What are we looking at there?
That's a void underneath the Riverwalk Bridge. He stuck a tape measure up there and he was able to stick that tape measure probably 15, 16 foot underneath that sidewalk. That's how big the void is. Now, a lot of that's caused by, when they did some big releases last spring, the water swirls around and washes underneath that. So what we're gonna do is haul in some dirt after he gets done. And we're gonna get some riprap, place riprap around that. There's an area, we're gonna add finish a concrete wall that wasn't completed for some reason, I don't know why. That'll stop all that from happening.
Good.
So, but the bid, I didn't think it was that bad to do all of that. I think it was $4,683.91. So, but it needs done.
That was about of infrastructure?
Yes. And there's $72,000 in there, or $73,000.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Okay. How about a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. So moved and seconded to spend $4,683.91 with Wildcat Concrete Solutions to repair the Riverwalk Bridge. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion carries 5-0.
Mayor, while we're on that, if I could
Mhm.
add something. On the west side of the, southwest side of the bridge, there's I don't know if that's Johnson grass or what that is, but my understanding is Gary Kraus planted that several years ago on his own.
Okay.
And that's just constant, I went down there and cut it back myself.
Kind of next to the wagon.
Yes. And what happens is that keeps growing out onto and blocking the sidewalk.
Yeah, so we're gonna trim that back. We're gonna trim that back and we'll fix the concrete there because it's in the way.
I just wonder if it ought to just be removed.
It's not Johnson grass. I can't think of what it's called. It's not.
Pampas,
There you go.
It's what?
pampas grass.
Okay, maybe it could be moved back or something, dug up and moved back, because it's constantly a problem. People have trouble walking through there.
Yeah, and that's, If you guys want to remove it, we can.
Trim it back, I don't know what the council thinks of it.
What does it look like without it though? I mean, is that,
You'll have a gap in between where the wagon is and the entrance to the, you'll have a gap there, basically is what you have.
I don't know if it could just be relocated a little farther back away from the sidewalk. Did it
Well,
just-
we can do a better job of trimming it.
It's probably spread too, if you can probably take out the front part of it.
Split it,
now
Yeah.
pampas grass goes down.
It just spreads, you know, and it probably was like this, now it's like this.
Yeah.
So we
huge.
can take out the front part of it, if that's what you guys want to try to do.
I just
No guarantees it won't kill it, but,
try to make it a little bit more easy to get through that sidewalk.
yeah.
It's pretty hard to kill, so,
Yeah, I think you can cut down.
yeah, cut it in two. Okay. Okay. Moving on, Economic Development Committee recommendations for the 50/50 grant.
Yep, those are in front of you. That's not part of the meeting when we got approved, we got one meeting, but Tiptoe Dance Company, is doing a bunch of work to the old Duck World building, old rerun consignment, they bought that building there. As you can see, they're doing HVAC, LED lighting, walls, and a black box theater. Spend about $45,000, so.
Can somebody tell me what a black box theater is?
Yes, it's a small theater,
New performances.
yeah, but usually very limited to like 50 people, and
Yeah.
it's just,
Imagine they're gonna
it's
have.
usually just a black box that you can move in a set and out, but it's a small
Yeah,
stage.
They'll probably do it for, it's a dance, you're gonna be a dance studio, they'll probably do it for performances and things like that, that's what it's gonna be
Okay.
for.
I just never heard that before, I was curious what that was.
I think the committee approved it, you know, based on the HVAC of the walls, because those two things will stay with the building regardless of what happens. The others, the lighting in the theater probably will too, but, you know, the idea was to keep it, you know, you have to keep the air conditioners and stuff up, so that's, I guess, it. And then Hemi's, I know, I listened in on this meeting. I couldn't speak, I didn't have the right thing turned on or something. But anyway, they're basically doing, you know, building repair outside.
Windows, window trim,
Repairs. So. Anybody have any other questions from that?
How much money do we have in that account?
what was it, maybe 12,000 now?
So I gave you
12,000, I hadn't looked at it in about a month, but we haven't spent any money.
the current thing, the current using.
And refresh my mind in the Citizens Council Code, do we put so much in there every year?
No.
No, this
It
is
was
a deal,
two matching,
yeah, it was the Minnesota Housing Project grant, and then the city put matching funds into that, and then
Greater Morris Economic
they
Development.
didn't give us any money yet.
They haven't yet?
They have not, so they still owe us 10,000 for it,
Okay.
so.
We need to check into
That
that.
12,000 doesn't include the 10,000 that you're
No,
talking about.
No, but we don't have that in the account, so I'm not counting it as if we have it, because we know if we'll get it or not.
It was supposed to have a total of 30,000 in it.
We had 24, city put in, matched it, what we got from Minnesota Housing Project, so it was 24, but we haven't gotten the 10 from the MDC.
Okay.
Because we had originally thought we would have at least 10 matching grants, so.
I'm just curious about the future of that fund. How are we gonna maintain it?
You can apply for more grants for it. Minnesota Housing Project does grants all the time for improvements.
I think this is a good deal, but I just.
The problem is though, you can't apply for a new grant until you use the money from the current grant.
You have to use it all
You
up.
have to use it, and then you can apply for another grant.
Well, and the Economic Development Committee may come up with a different, because we had talked about doing a fascia grant, we talked about several different grants at first, and then decided that we keep it a little bit more open, you know, for the first go around, and we could leave it the same too, the committee could leave it the same too, it's up to that committee, but It's been used pretty well, I think.
There's 14,037.94 in the account.
Okay. 14,
Yeah.
say that again, 14,730.
$14,037.94. So we have one that we haven't paid yet, which is Saddle Rock, and they're close to completion. These two applied, and then I know the Catlins are gonna apply for their windows in their buildings downtown. So I know those are coming. So, and that should about do what we have in the account, but then we saw that 10,000 that we need to see if they're gonna give it to us or not.
We need to put a little pressure on them.
Yeah, so. I don't know the conversation because Jesse was on the GMDC board. He's the one that got them to do that, so I need to talk to him and see what the agreement was. 'Cause I don't know what the agreement was.
Yeah, I can check into that with Tracy too. Okay. So do I hear a motion concerning these two grants or more questions?
You need a separate motion, Mayor, or both of them?
I think you can do both.
You can, for whatever you want to do.
I'll make a motion, we approve both of the grants as listed in the packet.
Okay. Okay. Been moved and seconded to approve the Economic Development Committee's recommendations for 50/50 grants. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, time for governing body comments. We'll start with you, Nick.
Okay. On July 15th, from 4 to 6 p.m. here at City Hall, we're gonna have John Stone's retirement party. So pay your taxes that day, and then you can have a cookie and a cupcake.
What was the time, Nick?
4 to 6.
Okay,
And
Thank you.
Can we have
Yeah.
Marcus put that in
Yeah,
the newspaper?
Yeah.
Okay, like a little invitation for people?
Yep.
Okay.
As you all probably aware, the cottonwood tree on the south Riverwalk entrance will be removed starting tomorrow morning. This afternoon I went over there and met Jeff Barlow, and it's probably 6 foot at the top of the split. I'm surprised it's still up. So we roped off and closed the south Riverwalk entrance until they get the tree removed. So the pavilion's closed, the playground's closed, and that parking lot's all closed off. The last thing I want to do is somebody walking in and get a tree fall on, so.
Even from last Wednesday when we were there, it split a lot more, huh?
Yeah, yesterday it was probably about 5 foot, today's probably 6, 7 foot split, I mean, it's like that.
Oh, well.
You know, it's
Tremendous amount of weight up there.
yeah, and the other side that is also splitting, and it's probably about, I don't know, a foot, somewhere around there, 1.5 foot. But
I was asked if we were gonna have that tree aged, but I don't think we have
I have
anybody
the
around
dates
to do
on
it.
it.
yeah, I talked to him and talked yesterday to see if there's any historical background on it. He said there's not.
There is. I have it at the call mission.
You do? Okay,
Mhm.
well, I asked him and he said there wasn't, so.
There's more than one historian in this town. There's one sitting right there and there's one
Well,
here.
I called her. I called her.
I didn't know.
Yeah, she told me to call Ken. and I knew-
No, I have
Sorry.
records, I've seen it, I've come across it, and it sticks in my mind like 1820s
Yeah.
on that one. So
Really?
that- Yeah.
I
Wow.
think when Kim meant historic, no treaties or anything like that.
Oh, well, that's very true.
That's what he was
Yeah,
getting at.
very
So,
true.
um,
Yeah, these trees were dated at one point, and that one's, I think, that one over there is 1803. The one on the way to swimming pool, and I think that one's 1820 something.
yeah,
I'll find it.
yeah.
It's just, you know,
Is that
sad
where
to
all of
lose
them
it.
were dated?
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to have a copy of that,
Yeah.
the Historical Society.
If I can find it again.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
when you do.
It's over there somewhere.
My office is an absolute menace.
So
Okay.
what I asked is that hopefully the people in the city won't decide to go down the alley and cause traffic issues over there trying to see what's going on. That's my hope tomorrow, but I think that's kind of inevitable. And Sean's gonna have to, go over there and tell people not to be doing that.
So Lang will take it down and then our crews will
Yep,
remove it.
Jeff, Brad, and Rodney will be over there tomorrow to clean it up. So we're hoping to we won't probably get all of it cleaned up tomorrow. It'll probably be a 2 or 3 day process, because that's a huge tree.
And they take that out to the,
Yep, burn pile. Yep.
okay.
So, The 177 chip and seal reletting starts tomorrow. Marcus is putting the notice, advertisement in the paper tomorrow. We're hoping we should have the bid results by the August 4th meeting. So we'll know then what the cost is and if it's feasible for us to do or we need to figure out. The CTS energy audit loan for the lease purchase, I reached out to all the banks, Farmers and Drovers, the only one that decided to bid on it. I have an email from them with their bid. It was 2.75%. The other two banks thanked us for considering them, but they did not want to bid on it.
What was the percent you said?
2.75,
Thank you.
and the best we can get through CTS is 3%. So, but we have a little while on that because they have to do the meter testing. That starts July 13th through the 17th. So,
The calculations that they use to figure out what our payments would be, was that with the 3% loan?
that was with the 275.
That was with the 275?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was 29 something a year, 29,383 or something like that. So with that, that's all I got.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
With our downsizing of the chip and seal to Highway 177 through town, what are the present anticipations for striping the rest of the streets in town?
So I talked to-
The main streets.
Yeah,
in
so I talked to
particular.
Barbo Monday
Mhm.
about restriping in front of Ray's on back. We're gonna go ahead and do
Mhm.
that.
Oh, I was,
Yeah, so he was ordering paint. We were planning on doing it this week, but with the tree deal, we're getting ready for chip and seal in Sample Town, so we have part of the crew down there fixing all the holes and things so we can chip and seal in Sample Town. And now Jeff and Brad and Ronnie are gonna have to be over here tomorrow to remove that tree, so it's probably not gonna get done this week.
well, I just want to make sure
Yeah, yeah,
it
we-
was
we-
still in the works here.
Yeah, so we originally were gonna get the reflector things that stick to the road, but they're expensive and we're gonna tear up half of them when we do that intersection down there, so it didn't make sense to do that,
Right.
so.
Good.
Okay.
We want to make sure that if there's any asphalt pulled up at the intersection down there, to remind them that there's sensors underneath that asphalt.
Yep,
Because that's how we lost them the last time,
yep.
that they chewed them up.
We don't have any areas down there that need tore out that I'm aware of and repaired, so it just should be putting down the oil and the chips up there and then restriping that.
Okay, did you want to address anything about the dike?
Sure, I can talk about the dike. We met with Eric Nelson today regarding the dike. We got a report back from the Corps office in Tulsa. With the new elevations that Jeff was able to shoot, the elevation is 1238.4 on average, which would make it a 250-year flood based off those numbers, is what we'd have protection up to. What we discussed with Eric today is those are not certified surveys. And to show the city's done their due diligence in trying to rectify the problem, making sure there's not going to be a flooding issue or possibly put us in a floodplain or anything, we told Eric that we would like to have a certified survey done, so we have that on file that these numbers are accurate.
That shows that we've done our due diligence, you know, if something should ever happen.
Is that on his dime?
Well, that's what we need to discuss. We didn't discuss that in the meeting because we didn't want to get in the back and forth with Gary kept putting everybody there about who's going to pay for it. So I think that's up to you guys to decide if the city wants to pay for it, or if we want to have Eric pay for it.
Did Steve Brochmer get back with you or anything?
He was out doing surveys today, he has not called me back, so I'll get up with him tomorrow, or hear back from him tomorrow. But Steve Rosemer set the original pin over there at 1238, so he should be able to shoot it pretty easy, because he's been over there before.
Now, all of this information then for the certified survey, which whoever's going to pay for it will come about, will be forwarded to the FEMA floodplain management
Yes.
that's
yep.
working on the current floodplain maps right now.
Yeah, so we've been in contact with the Department of Ag regarding what's going on over there, and they're kind of in hold until we have a survey done or have accurate
That's
information to give.
What I wondered. Okay.
Based off the information we first got, it would have put a 100-year flood, which obviously you guys remember, would have made everybody have to buy flood insurance over there. But after Jeff went over there and reshot it based off of the surveying that BG done for the Valley Street drainage improvements, the 1238 that Eric told us was pretty accurate. So, but we just need to be certified. That's what the Corps said that we should do. That's what the attorney in Wichita said. And so I think that we need to follow what those people say.
Before he tore the dike out, was there a rating on the dike then?
500-year flood,
And now it's only 200,
250.
250?
So the way they measure that is cubic feet per second. So what they're regulated to let out is 3,000 cubic feet per second. So a 250-year flood, they would have to get up to 13,000 cubic feet per second. So that's basically 4 times what they're allowed to let out. And that's only in a catastrophic, like, you know, last year wouldn't even have been an issue with it. So, and I think last year, the highest they didn't let anything out over 3,000, so.
See, '09 was a better flood year. I mean, the reservoir had more water, and they didn't let anything like what you're talking about out then either.
No, so I think we're fine. Biggest thing is, and I talked to Tim Tyner about it too, about the city's insurance with the tort laws and everything. And his big thing was due diligence. You've looked into it, seen what he's done, how it affects things. And he goes, a 250-year flood, he goes, if you get a 250-year flood, he goes, that doesn't matter, you're gonna flood somewhere else in town.
A lot
So-
more.
Yeah. So he says the city's covered, is what Tim said.
Part of me thinks, you know, we didn't do this, why should we have to pay for the,
Well, I'm in agreement.
that, you know?
Well, and I think that with us fixing the Valley Street project was partially because of what he done over with his greenhouse. We paid for that. That's 50 grand.
Yeah.
You know, the survey would probably be anywhere between, I don't know, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, somewhere around there, if that. But, you know, Rosemary already has the measurements over there. I don't, that's my opinion. I told the mayor that today after the meeting, that I think that that's fair. We didn't create the problem, so I don't think that we should be the ones that prove that.
Now that data, everything that would be certified and surveyed would get recorded, so
Yes.
future councils or,
Yep, I have a record of it, yep, in my office, with all the stuff that we got from the Corps and everything else. So that way, if it ever comes up that someone decides the city's negligent, we have documentation to show that we did our due diligence and.
I mean, like the survey, would it be recorded like a registered deed so that it's in record,
I mean, we can,
that it's accurate?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it needs to be recorded.
yeah, so we can do that, for sure. So, but it's up to you guys, that's kind of the story with that, we're at 250 a year, I think.
But it was 500.
It was 500,
So I'm in agreement with Councilman Brooks on that.
on
We
payment.
should pay for it, yeah.
I mean, we didn't cause it, you know?
Well, that's what I think, you know, he's the one that has to prove that it's not gonna cause a problem. The city should, you know, and that's kind of what we discussed today when we met with him, you know, a lot of what's been going on could have been avoided the conversation.
And if this would have happened within the city limits, Councilman Segris, and with our ordinances, would they be required to do that survey prior
Yes,
to the
that would be
work?
part of our stormwater runoff that we have incorporated into our city ordinances within the city limits.
Right.
Yeah. But the thing that we're covered by state statute that you can't put water on your neighbors, and I explained that to Eric today. If he's potentially causing a flood issue for the city, it doesn't matter that you're in the county, you've removed a dike that's protection for the city. Now you're responsible for proving that that's not gonna cause the city a problem.
Yeah. But you have to go to state to do that because the city, even though we have the 3 mile extraterritorial authority, we cannot dictate those type of things. We can dictate the type of land use.
Yeah.
That is the only thing we can dictate out there, nothing else.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
See, that's what's confusing about it. We can't dictate building codes, we can't dictate trash, animals, nothing. except what is allowed to be used, the land is to be used for, whether it's agricultural, industrial, business, residential, that's it. Nothing more than that.
So anyways, that's where we're at with that.
Okay.
But it's up to you guys how we pay for it,
I don't think we
or
should.
pay for, or who pays for it.
Yeah.
I think the mayor wanted to leave it up to the council to decide that.
Yeah. Somebody want to make a motion about that?
I can make a motion, but I do not feel under the present circumstances of the drainage issue by Eric Nelson in his industrial endeavors with his greenhouse, that the cost of a certified survey should be the responsibility of the city of Council Grove in connection with floodplain issues. That it should be his responsibility to pay for this certified survey.
Okay. Do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
That was you, Mark, correct?
Yeah. Steve, if he were to refuse to pay for that survey, I'm just asking, does he have any legal responsibility to pay for that, or is it something that he could say, no, I'm not doing that, and we'd still end up paying for it, or?
He could say, no, I'm not doing it, we'd still not pay for it. There's no, we don't have anything to force him to pay for, to pay for the survey.
Then we're back to the district court
Yeah.
issue.
And even then, it is still, it goes back to what level that most cities are accustomed to for flooding. So it would go back to case law on whether or not 250-year flood is. So even though if someone does damage to you, granted they took the dike, that's damage done, but what is the actual economic damages of that? So that is what is going to be difficult to calculate. And if we can't actually calculate true damages, then it's hard to win a judgment against an individual. And so in this situation, I don't think we would be able to force him to pay for it.
Let me ask you this, before he tore the dike out, was it certified then?
Yeah, when it was built by the Corps, I mean.
And it was certified at 500 years?
Yeah, 500
Okay.
years.
So I think we were doing the right thing by asking, I think he should he should be morally responsible
Biggest thing is
to
if he
fix
wants
what
this
he
to go away,
broke,
and before
basically.
we get past this, he needs to work with us on it. I mean, we spent a lot of time and energy on it already. And like I told him there in the meeting, I said, simple conversation, we would have avoided 90% of this.
This could be an olive branch that he could hand to us for this.
So,
And I guess if it comes right down to it, then we can negotiate to split the cost. We wouldn't really want to do that, but, you know.
Yeah, and I can find out from Roseland what the
that's-
cost is tomorrow.
Well, like I mentioned today in the meeting, it's for his protection as much as it's for the city's protection. Because somebody can come back on him as well if they would get flooded. And if he's done due diligence by making sure that that survey is certified for the work that they've done at the Corps, then, you know, they've done the work. We've done the work. We've done as much as we can. And
He'd probably like this to go away.
it protect, you know, protects him.
I'm sure, yeah. His lawyer sent him a letter, and he didn't like the letter.
Yeah.
So, but the attorney, the Corps, everyone says you now have a certified survey done to cover yourself.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to require Eric to pay for a certified survey concerning the dike.
The certified survey for the flood control issues involved with the dike, yes.
Okay, you guys got that written down?
Megan's got it.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, with that, I'm done.
You are finished. Okay, Larry Berner.
Mark Barnum?
Well, Larry and Berner, I'm close. I've had a long day, guys, sorry.
Are we gonna do the 200 then for
Yeah,
the,
I already have checked for it.
Okay, so-
I just approved it. it's
So we decided to give the contributors that musically, for the 4th of July, $200. That's what we did last year. The contributors, along with Max, all voted to donate that money to the Arts Council. That's all I have.
That's nice.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
so there's a check in front of the mayor for them, for Max Byram for $200.
1,000 checks here.
Well,
Okay.
that's pretty, that's because we hadn't had a meeting in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, one other thing, the event that he pulled off out there at the lake the week before,
went really well.
it went very, very well, and Max said that they made $300, which is $300 more than they've ever made on any event. So that was like the first profitable, thing the Arts Council's done that he even knows of.
It was
That made money
perfect. The
on.
weather was
Yeah.
great, the music was good, the field was great, everything was perfect.
Yeah.
That's a nice event. Well attended.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, now we'll go over here to Mark Segrist.
I have nothing to bring up this evening.
Okay. I'm sorry, give you that trouble.
No, that's fine.
Well, mourning the loss of the giant cottonwood down there, and it's gonna leave a large void once it's repaired and the hole filled in. I think we ought to, and I've brought this up multiple times, start up a memorial tree planting program here in Council Grove. This community early on was a grove of giant hardwoods, oaks, walnuts, hickory. I think it'd be nice to start replanting oaks back into our parks, and not for us, but for many generations to come. And you're not going to have that problem with an oak like you did with that giant cottonwood. And
So, not to pick you up, me and the mayor were talking, the Bauer Center has a tree over there that was a sprout from the.
I think
council.
it's not the Bauer Center, it's the,
The library, Carnegie?
yeah, the Carnegie. That was taken off of the council, or the post office.
Yeah, Ken McClintock has been collecting those and starting those trees.
Okay.
So, what we had talked about is, I don't know, that tree's probably gonna be huge over there, and I don't know. You can move tree, you can move.
I don't know if you can move that tree.
It's
It's pretty
pretty-
big.
Well, it's the one on the west side he's talking about,
Okay, it's not-
probably.
Okay.
But it's a good 10 foot tall at least.
What's the diameter of the?
Yeah, it has to do with the diameter, because you gotta be able to get the spade around it.
I don't know, but I would ask Ken what he's got stored
You may have
because
some starters.
he may have some
Well,
already
we have an
started.
oak tree that's growing in the garden down there, it's gonna need to move or it's gonna destroy the sidewalk. And it's not that big around.
It's probably about the same size as the Carnegies.
And we could start
But they
our
just put a
own.
rock at that one for the veterans. I don't know, if that can be moved.
The one at the end of the garden,
Mhm,
that little one?
mhm.
Double Bar Pond, north of town, has a semi that has a spade on the back, and I believe that they can move a 12-inch diameter tree. That's a pretty good size.
That is pretty good size.
They moved the ones, when the powwow was moved from other places to the commission grounds, there were trees already planted in that spot that they then, I think there are 3 or 4 that were then moved to the Riverwalk. And they moved those, and those were 25-foot trees when they moved them.
Because that hole is gonna be filled in, we have to fill the hole in. So we'll cut it off flush, fill the hole in, and then we're planning on doing is planting a tree in front of where the old tree was, because you couldn't plant it on top, because the roots wouldn't take it on top of a stump.
I just wonder if we could start, our own, not nursery, but start with some acorns from, the Council Oak Junior over there and start some oaks that we could, as we need them in other parts of the city and parks, we could plant them. But I just think it's important that we start, we've taken out, how many down there for the amphitheater? And eventually we'll probably plant some more back in that area, but anyway, I'd like the council to think about that.
We might talk to Mrs. Gant out on the highway. She has that business out there, she might
She
work
might
with
start
us.
them for us.
Uh-huh.
That's the biggest thing, is taking care of them, because I don't know.
Because somebody's gonna have to be in charge.
Then I might, I'll just leave it at that, they have to be taken care of. I
Right.
don't know that our guys have the knowledge and ability to do that.
I believe the Kansas Forest Service has a program like that for historic species, and they'll take care of them.
I can talk with Kim
I would-
about it. What's her name, Baumberg?
Mhm.
I can talk to her too.
But check with Kim McClintock and see what he's already squirreled away.
Where he's got them hidden, huh?
See, when the Riverwalk was first built, there was a lot of memorial trees put in. And they have the little rocks with the names engraved in them. And that went real well, and then that program just kind of went away.
Well, the
And-
reason it did, Danny told me that the reason it did is because people wanted a specific kind of tree when they got their memorials, and a lot of those trees weren't conducive to our area.
Yeah.
And they kept it cost them more in the end to replace them and try to keep them alive.
Well, I think if we mandate what type of trees they're gonna be.
Yeah, that would be
And set
what
it
we'd
up
have
and
to
say
do.
that, you know, it's gonna be whatever.
That'd be
And
it.
Well, I can check with
Yeah.
Ken, and then if you guys are having any interest in moving a tree, I can contact that tree farm up there on Way to Manhattan.
I'm sure the one you're talking about is the one on the west side. It's kind of right in front of, there was a lilac bushes growing around it, and we've kind of taken those out. The one, he's planted the one on the.
right by the street,
Yeah, but that's a huge tree.
right.
But this other one is,
Yeah.
He's planting
10,
them all
12
over the place. I'm in Madonna and elsewhere.
and actually, we probably ought to collect that information from him too, as to where they are. too.
Well, isn't the one in front of the Carnegie, it's gonna be invasive, I mean, it's gonna be too big for there, isn't it?
No, it's out further, it's close to the street.
Is it? Okay. I was just told that that one would need to be moved eventually, and that's why I talked to Nick about that one, because I thought, well,
Well, maybe
that would
there's
be-
another one I'm not aware of.
I
too.
don't know.
I can talk to Ken and see
Yeah, we can find
what
out.
he recommends. and-
And Kim Bomber too, because she can tell us where they're gonna overgrow or whatever. That's what she does.
And now the second thing I want to talk, and the last thing I want to talk about is in-city campgrounds, which I've brought up multiple times. Yesterday, Sharon and I were on our way back from Minnesota, and we stopped in Winterset, Iowa, and stayed in their city park campground. And I'll pass these down. It's a you self-register. There's a locked metal box with a little kiosk. You pull up there, you pick one of these up, it shows you what the cost is. You go find you a spot, you go back to the box, put $22 in the envelope. Got water, electric, and sewer for $22. And there were lots of people using that city park. I just think that we need to develop some in-city campgrounds. It looked like all they were doing was mowing it, and it's not like they were, you know, there's a lot of maintenance that has to be done.
Sewer, water, and electrical there, Mark?
Yes,
Okay.
That's $20 a day.
yes.
Okay, and it doesn't say cash, check, money order, or the payments. I know the Corps of Engineers will not accept cash.
Yeah, I put cash in. And
I think they will for voting, if you don't have for voting, if you don't have a sticker. you can fill that
For
out.
camping.
No,
I was
not
speaking about camping.
Oh, yeah, they won't for camping.
And then they had, as you can see on the back, they had a $15 per night for tent, they had a tent area. And it had electrical, so you could even have electricity for your tent for $15. So,
And
and
we don't
then,
seem to have any private people stepping up to do that.
I know there was some discussion, I think Councilman Wessel discussed that there was an individual looking into possibly doing that, but
Yeah, and
that doesn't seem to have gone anywhere.
I don't think he got the ground that he was looking at, Mark,
Right.
so.
You know, we had, you know, Councilman Blosser and I were heavily involved in the Ben I. Smithfield over there, and I think we figured that we could get at least 6 camping spots right along
On the north?
Valley Street, right there.
Oh, in Valley. I
Yeah,
thought you were
just-
looking at the north side.
Well, that's an
Valley.
additional too.
Yeah.
And, so, you know, on that, down along that dike there on the north end, gosh, we could get several in there. And, some of them had shade, you know, with a tree or two, some of them didn't, you know. But I just wanted to show you how easy it was, you know, and low maintenance you don't have to have somebody there to oversee it. You know, every morning you could have somebody swing by and take the cash and envelopes out of the box and bring it to City Hall.
Maybe to trash.
Yeah, and, anyway,
I do think we're missing out on not having some kind of a KOA, something around here, because almost every town you go through has one, you know, of any size, and our size town especially not.
I can tell you it's almost impossible to find a camping spot out here. Councilman Berner and I were both out there at the same time trying to get a camping spot, and it's just almost impossible. And I've had this discussion with people that say the people that camp out at the lake won't want to camp in here. I agree with that somewhat. I think you get almost different type of people. The people that want to stay in here are ones that want to come here and eat in our eateries and go in our shops and explore our town.
Be here for game events and
Yeah,
things.
you know, so it's, you know, it's a whole different, just like our situation, we were just passing through. You know, we needed a place to park our camper and spend the night. And it didn't need to be on the lake or, you know, that type of situation. And, worked out real well for us. And I think, you know, we've got water and sewer right over there by Ben I, real easy to put it in there. So I would like us to start thinking about this. I'm gonna start pushing this again.
Would those be year-round sites in your mind, or what we do with water in the wintertime?
I think you have to have a shut-off point. I think when you look on a lot of campgrounds, they have an off-season to where there's no camping, or if there is camping, there's no service, no water or sewer available. There might be electrical, but the other part's not available.
Sure.
So I think you have to figure out what that is and have your on time. But even down on the Axe property, I think that we could put in a few camping spots there, because once our Riverwalk expansion comes, they'll come right by that, and somebody from wherever could pull their RV in there, walk on the Riverwalk right into our downtown area.
Yeah.
I'm a little leery about that because it's a residential area. I mean, I think that, you know, how the people around there, we'd have to talk with them.
There were houses right across the road from where I was
I
parked.
think the original thought on that property down there was parking for the amphitheater.
You know.
We have events and stuff, so that's the reason we're doing the North River Walk extension, making that like a parking area.
I think you could have part of it as that parking
Well, we
area
talked about
and part
the
of
east
it
side,
camping.
use it
Yeah.
along the east side as a.
I think you could
camping
develop
spots, too.
some and do both in there.
Well, the Ben I. Smith is a good area too, as well, you know, because of the, you know, just think of the people coming for ball games. They would, you know, they could stay right there.
Yeah, there was a ball field just right across the other road where we were camped at. Houses here, kind of a narrow strip of park, and then ball fields over here. So they were utilizing their city park.
Well, you know,
Probably the only thing the city would have to do is hire somebody to do the electrical. I think Derek and his guys can put in water and sewer pretty, just some trenching and.
would you mind calling Tim Tyner and seeing what our insurance, what that would do with our insurance? Before we start ahead, you know, start going on forward, we probably need to check into the insurance. You know, it sounds like a good idea. I do think that people are coming for ball games. A lot of them are staying in, like in Coria and Harrington and stuff, because while we all love the cottage house, that's not always conducive to kids running through those hallways and things.
And can I add one more thing to that? I would think that we'd want to consider them not being long-term camping spots.
Right.
I don't think you'd want somebody coming in here and living,
For 6 months or something.
yeah, you know, set your whatever it is, but a short-term camping.
Now, how do you feel about that if somebody, I'm just asking, this is kind of a crazy time to be talking about it, but like somebody's building a house and they need to bring their camper in. I know I've had 2 or 3 people
Well,
ask.
They
some
address
people that do
this or
that,
not.
the way that's set up is if you got.
Like long-term,
you build a
just
house
so
long-term,
certain
you would go
limitations,
down to
like
the
Saturday.
park and
Yeah,
build
but just a week.
Oh, okay, they have spots down
According to
there.
this, yeah,
Yeah.
this is
Good
just
idea.
a week
Okay.
only.
Very good.
Yeah, this one only, like Councilman Seeger says, this is only for a week. They only allow you to be there for a week. And that wouldn't, you know, if you had some construction workers coming.
Long-term rates are available for weekly and monthly stays.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, I would not think we'd wanna do that. This campground had 40-plus camp spots. And, but
I agree with you, I don't think we
Yeah.
should do
Not unless
that.
we get some big place somewhere. Okay.
that's all I have.
Well, maybe we can set up a little team to look into that. That sounds good. Anything else then? You're done? Okay. Sharon?
Well, along with that, we have been talking about a dog park, and that kind of got set off somewhere. Are we?
The mayor
Where?
put that on the back burner.
I did. I
Okay.
put it because I was the one who was applying for it and everything.
Okay.
And that, it had to be applied for right about the time of COVID, and I was a little worried financially that we don't need to be
Okay.
putting in a dog park when we might have other. It's down on the list.
Did, who purchased the depot?
I'm not sure.
Did Sylvia purchase it? She has a dog rescue. Someone told me they thought she purchased it.
Oh, really? I do not know.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't heard that.
I don't think she did. Somebody was telling me today that they thought they heard she did, so, but I don't know.
Because we were talking about that area north of that. the
Yeah,
city
and I gotta
owns.
check, because that's emergency landing area for helicopters. I know that hospital has one up there now, but that's a back up to that, so.
Was that behind the fire station or was that behind the park?
That was in that big park there, that's why there's that flag in there.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
There, so,
Yeah, there's, that's because that's an emergency landing area. So if we did that, we'd have to figure out a different emergency landing area. And the only thought I had was over there at the ball fields, on that big area over there behind everything, but we're gonna talk about putting camping in, that won't work.
Well, that 177, I guess it'd be the east side right there. Northeast side, where they practice football, would that work?
You mean the high school?
Yeah,
They won't allow that. I mean, they get sprinkler heads and everything else in there.
okay. Well, I'm talking on the practice field, not on the actual field.
I can ask
Just-
Aaron.
just
I mean,
it's a big
I don't-
area.
I don't think they would do that.
You've got power lines down 177 though,
Yeah,
you have to keep that in mind. for
You have to be
aircraft.
so far away from
Does
them,
it
I'm
have to be in
guessing.
town?
I have answers.
They have used the reservoir this past year or so, remember Mark out there? Just beyond the Corps of Engineers building.
Yeah, where the
It's called-
spillway,
we call
the emergency spillway
Yes,
area.
yeah, just the other side of it, and they had our EMS and everyone go out and city crews, county crews, block the traffic for them to land out there. When they were building the one at the hospital was when they were doing that.
Yeah, that'd be a good area for it. Not very far out of town
Right up on top of the hill, and there's no power lines or anything around it, no trees either. But that's what they had used while they were working on the one up at the hospital.
Well, the grounds will come open again in February, I think, of next year, so February to May or something like that of next year, so.
Sure.
But right now it's on hold because of.
Well, it makes sense,
financial
but
mostly, yeah.
just was thinking about it as we.
No, yeah, I'm glad you did. I mean, I've got some letters of recommendation and all kinds of stuff together, but it's not, it's on hold.
Good.
So, but thank you.
Okay.
Anything else?
Well, just compliments to Jason and his helpers for the fireworks. It was a great event and beautiful as usual. And it turned out with my family that I was with, we went around and parked on the north side of the Ball Diamonds. And the spot we picked was, the full moon was right in the middle of all the fireworks, and it was just amazing.
It's very pretty.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, that moon,
So,
I've got tons of pictures with that moon
yeah.
on there.
But anyway, just a thank you for
It was a
him
good
and his
show.
crew. It was a very
His
good
best
show.
so far, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry I missed it.
It was pretty. Okay, Keith.
The only thing, and I mentioned this just basically to get the rest of the council's opinion, but I've had probably 3 calls concerning the county not backing the governor's deal and so on about the mask and everything. And I guess my concern with school coming up and everything, I hope the city continues to encourage everybody to be extra cautious, because I know we sure don't want to see that. I mean, we've been really fortunate I hope we continue to be that way. But I hope everybody doesn't just pull the plug and go back to life as usual, and then we end up shutting businesses down and end up with big issues in the fall about time we're trying to do something with school. And so I'm just curious what the rest of the council, but
I've been in the emergency management meetings, and I didn't find out till Saturday they weren't going to about that. I think I talked to you on Saturday about it. We were concerned about the 4th of July event and trying to force people to wear a mask, and then they weren't enforcing it. The problem with the order is there's no teeth to it. So yes, we can keep promoting, telling people to please wear a mask, but the county is not going to prosecute people if we write a ticket and things like that. So there's no teeth to it other than you can tell people to do it. That's the reason they didn't adopt it.
okay.
From my-
Can't really be enforced, just.
It can't be enforced, no.
So what's the likelihood it would have been anyway? I guess would be my question.
I think originally, Keith, before the governor gave the counties the power to decide, when she was able to mandate the stuff that started, and then she backed off that and said, the counties, you decide what you want to do, I think she could have mandated it.
Yeah,
And we would have had to go follow it, because we were following the phase plan until she stopped doing that.
right.
But you put it in the county's hand, it's up to the commissioners, the health, health officer and stuff like that.
Right.
So,
Well, and that's why I brought it up, because I think the city is not the county, and the city can continue to at least encourage everybody to use caution, because we're not out of the woods. This thing isn't over by a long way, so
yep.
that's all I got.
I agree.
I agree with that, yes, totally.
It's good to see that the death rate is going down, though, so.
It'll be interesting. I know Riley County is enforcing it in Riley County. So it'll be interesting to see how they police that. I think that was one of the biggest questions here. How do you deal with it?
Right.
Do you want your police officers and sheriffs running after people telling them to put on a mask and writing them tickets? Or, I mean, it's just a tough thing to figure out how you're gonna manage it.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever enforceable. In all respect to these guys, they got other things to do, more important things to do. I think it's a common sense thing, and if it's still out there that you're being encouraged to do it, people are more apt to go ahead and do it than if you just say, we're not gonna enforce it, go back to life as usual, and that's
Yeah,
the states that really got in trouble, that's what they did. They basically just said,
Well, it's an
We're done.
attitude.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
have to have the right attitude.
right, and to me, it never is a enforceable thing. Nobody's visualized anybody going to jail because they don't wear a
Well, in
mask.
Minnesota, it's required to go in any store up there when I was up there. And I would say it was probably 95% of the people had masks
Yeah.
on. So their attitude is they understand that this is a serious thing
Yeah.
and that it's not a made up.
Yeah, and I think that's the reality. It's a common sense thing, and the mask is, if you want to turn it into a political thing, have at it, but it's common sense and it's science, and, it's,
Well, a lot of it's
it's a
by
pandemic,
example.
it's real. I mean, you're not burying people
That's
all
right.
over the country, and these states that did open up are now backtracking, saying, hey, we made a mistake, so it
Well, like I
will go
said, I
the
think
other way.
we can all lead by example.
Exactly,
By wearing.
yeah. And that's what
I was disappointed that when she said it, she said the legislative branch didn't need to be wearing them. I thought, they were exempt. And I didn't think that was a good idea, because that would be just like us saying we don't have to sit there
Right.
and wear them, but we want everybody else to wear them. And I think everybody needs to wear them if
Yeah.
we're gonna wear them.
Yeah.
But I do think we can lead by example by, encouraging people to.
Just wonder if we ought to come up with some sort of a stay safe type slogan and put on a banner and put it out here on
Well,
our.
I can put something on the digital board and have it out, Deidre and Lindsay make something for the digital board out front.
Yeah,
They did a deal with Masking Morris, the county and.
Yeah, stay with that.
Yeah.
Just your little sign that you
The
have.
problem is, the longer this goes on and the longer we don't have cases here in town, the more comfortable people feel.
I think that's gonna change. I think we're walking on thin ice here.
I agree.
I think it's just a matter of time that we're gonna have a spike here. Especially with
I hope
the,
you're wrong.
with
Yeah, well, we
the
all do.
attitude that they won't get it, you
Yeah,
know?
we all do, but you know, and then you see the reality that, you know, the mortality, the mortality tables, the age has dropped like 12 years in just the last 2 or 3 weeks, so, I mean, it's definitely a reality, but I think, you know, that, like Debbie said, I think we can encourage people, lead by example, and at least have the voice of the city be that, you know, we're still encouraging people to be cautious because this isn't over. So what the county chose to do was out of our hands, but we still as a city have the right to make, you know,
Sure.
Make a statement about
yeah.
it, yes.
So that's all I got.
Well, I'll contact them and have them make something for the board out here.
Okay, that'd be good. The only thing I have, other than thanking everybody that worked for the fireworks, worked on the fireworks, it was awesome. And the concert, that was great. It was nice to have some outdoor stuff where people could get out and enjoy each other a little bit with social distancing. I would like to reappoint the Lake Annexation Committee. And my question is this: who of the council was on that? I want to make sure I've got the right people.
Keith was, Sharon was, Chris Thomas was, who's no longer here, and that was, and Mark Berner.
Okay,
So you have 4 on there, that were council.
okay. I could not remember. I knew that we'd had 3 for sure. I was forgetting.
Then was Jim Stager.
Well, Jesse was,
Yeah, but he was on.
but he was
council.
on it because of Chris. Yeah, I mean, Chris was on it because of Jesse, right?
Yep.
In just his place. Okay.
Jesse was on it as a city representative.
Okay, so I would like to have 4 on this committee. Well, I guess, yeah, I could be the 4th one, I guess. I was on it originally. Does anybody else want to be on it? I'm looking. Okay,
With
Larry, you
my
have any
health
interest?
things,
You have
I'd
a lot of
rather-
knowledge about the lake.
I am still involved with personal pursuits with the medical
okay.
But
industry around my house. It's not all calmed down yet, so I'd prefer not to at this time.
Okay. Well, with that, I will go ahead and appoint Keith Wessel, Mark Berner, Sharon Hahn, and myself, and then Nick, of course, and Chris Bolton, Jen Troxel, Julie Hauer, and Gary Catlin to the new annexation.
Repeat those others, please.
The Chris Bolton,
Thank
talking
you.
about the people from Lake, yes,
Yes.
Chris Bolton,
Uh-huh.
Jan Troxel, Julie Hauer, and Gary Catlin. And I have spoken with each of them, and they're all willing to serve. Okay?
There's a good selection there.
So, okay. And I don't believe I have anything else, so,
you need a vote to confirm.
Oh, yeah. Can I have a vote to approve that appointment? I'm sorry.
So moved.
Okay, sure, okay.
Maybe I shouldn't.
Do I need a second? Or do I hear a second? I shouldn't say do I need.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, Larry, okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion carries 5-0. Okay, and now I would appreciate a motion to adjourn. Oh, wait a minute, do we need to talk about the hearing budget at all at this meeting?
No,
The budget
that's not
hearing?
till August 4th. So everything's done with the budget.
Okay,
We will have a public hearing at the beginning of the August 4th meeting.
Okay.
To hear anybody that has any issues with the budget, and then we can approve it, and then we can move directly into the council meeting.
so it's going, and it's being published as,
No.
Not
It
yet.
will not be published till after the August 4th meeting.
okay, that was my question.
So after you guys approve the budget, the final approval from the public hearing, I will send it up to the county clerk
Okay,
before August 15th, so that they have it and they can publish it.
okay, very good. I just want to make sure we were covered, we didn't need to, these people know we're working on it, so. Okay, now, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
okay. All those in favor? Motion carries 5-0, thank you.
Thank you.